All right, this is the newspaper review, a conversation that we have all been waiting for since 7 a.m. or rather 7:30 a.m. when we joined, when we were having a conversation with you guys back at home. And just a quick feedback. It is Asachi Ash. He says, "Good morning, Sylvia. Good morning to you. I am tuned in from Ngong Road." Thank you so much for tuning in, and trust you're enjoying the show. For every other person who is watching us, you can keep engaging with us so that we know where you're watching us from. We give you a shout out. You'll be part of this conversation this morning. We've just had a conversation on what's next after KCSE. Interesting. If you missed that, you need to go back and look at it. Very engaging insights on what you can do to pursue your dreams, whether it's in entrepreneurship, whether it's in education, whether it's in business, everything. You have all it takes, or you have all the information you need to go ahead on that journey. Now, in studio with me this morning, I'm joined by Ojuang Mariam. Thank you so much for making time for us this morning. And also Jacome Samuel, the 19th speaker, KUSA, Kenyatta University, the great university. Thank you so much for making time for us this morning. How are you doing?
I'm good. And thank you for hosting me here today.
You're very much welcome. How has your weekend been like?
My weekend is, I guess we are over the weekend because we have just gone through Monday.
Yeah, you see, you know.
Yeah, but the weekend was interesting. Yeah, I enjoyed the bit of it. Yeah.
Ojuang, how has yours been like? I know you were at work yesterday, but just assume this is my Monday. Assume that.
I think by de facto, my weekend I think inakuwaga kesho Wednesday. Every other day of the week I'm out there, if not in the community at the grassroots level. I'm right here interacting with the university students. If I'm not here, I'm out there ensuring that I'm celebrating in the wins that we are making as a university. Last Friday we were at Kenya National Theatre 2025. Fourth edition of Kenya Theatre Awards. Kenyatta University won the best learning institution. From there, we went to Ngong Road, na huko kwa kina Asachi Ash for DocuBox. They were doing Kenya Creates Films premiere. We got to witness best and creatives challenging themselves, from stand-up comedy to doing films. People like Ty Ngashira, people who are known for this, from podcasting and poetry. Adela Nyango making debut into films, doing very beautiful films. Jana tumekuwa Mjengo, Lines za Kikwetu, newspaper review, and now we're here. The weekend imekuwa fiti sana, and the week is still going on very well. I'm thankful to God.
Interesting. I know you guys are not going to ask me, najua hawayusu.
Yako unajua tunaiona. That's the good thing with having a female Gen Z host full of energy and vibe. Every day tunakuona TikTok, every day tunakuona Instagram. You know. Uko unatesa.
Yesterday I was told that ni kama hii energy yangu, I need a place to take it. It's like it's not enough for just the newsroom. Very interesting. So this morning, it is a beautiful morning, like I said when we began the show. You know, waking up and seeing the sun is interesting. And what is interesting me this morning is waking up and seeing, as I come to work, that is at 6. People are opening their businesses. People are really focused. People are chasing the bag. And like I always say, mambo ni mengi. So even as they're doing that, the Business Daily is telling us this morning that KRA is targeting small traders with new MSME unit. Like there's a department that is created that targets these groups. Like the other time we were talking about the future of business, where young individuals here, third years, and fourth year, the other guy was in fourth year, they were talking about how they're venturing into tech, doing, finding clients abroad and working from home. And now, KRA is targeting these small traders with new MSME units, new departments targeting tech and small traders in fresh efforts to rope in more taxpayers and weed out tax cheats. It's a good thing and a bad, okay, it's not a bad thing. Don't misquote me. It's a good thing because paying taxes is good because that's what keeps our governments moving. What do you think about this move? Personally, I'm okay with government going into deeper because pesa iko kwa mama mboga, pesa iko kwa these small businesses. Let me begin by you, Jacob. What do you think about this move of the government wanting to get deeper into it and getting more money?
Okay, it's a 50-50 win, being that the government, to some extent, get developments from the taxes they get from the businesses that are around the nation. But also, we should also get to see a scenario where the taxes are not hiked to an extent that is now a disadvantage to the small businesses. So as much as there is an invention of taxes to the grassroots, where there are a lot of businesses, a lot of activities, people going untaxed, and yet the nation depend on the tax as well, they shouldn't hike it beyond the leverage of the young businesses that are upcoming. Yeah.
So they should not tax them to closure. That's basically
Exactly. Yeah.
very interesting. Joa, what's your sentiments this morning about this move?
It's about creating a conducive business environment for our people. It's not wrong to tax the people of Kenya. It's wrong to overtax them and then using that tax for other things other than the projects that help the same taxpayer. You're supposed to tax me so that this money I pay as tax comes back to help me to create a conducive business environment for my business to thrive. You tax me, you ensure that I have a good transport system, the roads are accessible and they are good. You tax me and ensure that I have working medical what do we call them, medical insurance, they are working. You tax me and the schools are being built, the education is accessible to everyone. Hapo ndio unasikia tukisema ni pesa zetu zinafaa kutengeneza barabara, ni pesa zetu zinafaa kutengeneza hospitali. But when you tax me for you to go and add a kitty that was not there during the allocation of budget ya kwenda kufanya campaign Ethiopia, then you go and fail, toko tume lose 13 billion for nothing. What could we have done as a country with 13 billion? 13 billion tunaweza jenga hosi mbili kwa kila gatuzi au kwa kila jimbo au kwa kila county. Imagine 2 hospitals in every county, level 4 of kind, ingekuwa fiti sana. But if we could borrow some of good things that we can do, that the government could do, is like what is happening in Kiambu County. Today on Daily Nation, the county government of Kiambu, headed by Kimani Wamatangi, are talking about a single business permit. Your business permit, the amount you pay, bado ni tax in itself. And your single business permit inafaa inisaidie niache kutoa pesa za fire, niache kutoa pesa za license, niache kutoa pesa sijui za inspection. All this combine, huyu mwenye ni MSME, mfanya biashara mdogo apewe ka single business permit kamoja na kamsaidie kufanya biashara yake yote. If we were doing that, then it's okay, it's well and good. But the government of Kenya should not confuse one fact, that we cannot get out of poverty level, or we cannot develop as a country entirely when we depend on these taxes. In USA, immediately the new president was inaugurated or sworn into office, Donald Trump, the 45th and 47th president of USA, alisema, mimi nataka nchi yetu igrow, so I will concentrate on less taxes on you. But wenye wanataka kuleta biashara zao huku, kuleta products zao huku, au tunaongezea taxes up to 60, so that we encourage watu buy America, making America great through kununua vitu zenye wamejiundia. As a country we could do the same. Saizi mahali niko, kitambo wakitisha hongo walikuwa wanakuambia nibaie chai. Nowadays no one wants to buy you chai because chai is expensive, yet sisi ndio tunavuna majani, sisi ndio tunavuna kahawa. The same kahawa tunavuna huko nje, ikiletwa unanunua 800, it's not even affordable. Kahawa hadi siku hizi wanasema blatantly nipe chwani. Because kitambo alikuwa anakuambia nipe chai, unamtolea chwani because chwani could buy tea. Right now it can't buy tea. So ukimwambia nibaie chai, Karawa wewe unashangaa, unataka dhao, mimi nikutolee wapi na hakuna makosa, wewe unanitafutia. So unapata hadi vitu kaa hongo zinaongezekea wapi? Uko juu wewe unataka utu tax na tuoni kwenye hiyo tax inaenda.
Very much in order. From both of you, I get that it's okay to tax, it's okay to get revenue, but also be responsible in how you use our funds, because it is ours. Tutoke kwa zile enzi zenye we are getting. You know, when I was growing up, I was seeing watu wa Kanjo, they walk and collecting 40 bob from every person. Mtu wa Kanjo akikuja, someone anafunga vitu yake mbio. The reason is because they're not legal ways of how these funds can be directed to one place. And for me, I think it's a good move, finding a single place or a single business permit. Now, still on that, transport. Why Minister ignored advice to cut Nairobi Expressway tolls? That is the biggest headline on the Business Daily. And the government has ignored advisory from Kenya National Highways Authority to cut toll charges on Nairobi Expressway following a drop in inflation and strengthening of the shilling against the dollar. Now, Kenha says that, you know, we are balanced, like the economy is stable. These roads
we listen but we don't judge.
The economy is stable, so hizi barabara wacheni wa Kenya watumie. Let them move their businesses, let them be productive, let them use these roads. But the government says not under my watch. Jared, what do you think about this push and pull, the indifferences between the government and the ministries?
Okay, over time, we have witnessed a government which needs advice, have agencies that advises them on various departments, and at the same time, they don't listen to them. Because you will see court sanctions the stoppage of a certain process, like the other time they stopped the new funding model from educations, and then the Ministry of Education still comes and says we are going to use the funding model in a different way. So it means they have still not listened to court. And the charges actually on the expressway are toll. You find that there was a certain time I was talking to a certain Uber guy, and he is saying that I've been in traffic here at Jogo Road for a very long time. Like I left town at 3 p.m. and I'm now leaving here at 10 p.m. I'm just dropping my client at 10 p.m. And he was like, I told the lady, we can use the expressway and you pay the extra for the passage, and we get home early. So, you know, businesses are stalling and Kenyans are delaying time. So what if the lady was chasing a flight? What if the lady was chasing a running business somewhere, not basically going home? So you find that the government have agencies, they have the departments which advises them, but they still the people who sanction those agencies don't listen to them, and at the end of the day they end up in a push and pull manner, which doesn't lead to good governance. So I think until we have a government which listens to advice, when they are told that this isn't going to work, let's approach it in this way, because these are the qualified experts that they know that whatever we expected from this expressway until now, we already have it. So can we lower it so that the normal mwananchi can now get to access the roads in an easy way and do their business? But that the government doesn't listen to. So you will listen tomorrow, the taxes are still on and the fees, the charges are still high. So that is, it is not something new. It is not something new
so
from
our
government.
Hears, but it does not listen.
Yeah, the hears, nakusikia na kuget, but kuna venye mimi pia nataka. Yeah, so that's it.
So Ojwang, you know, the law provides for the Cabinet Secretary of Roads and Transport, and there is a lower tax. The law allows him to lower the toll fee and the toll rates when inflation is low and the economy is getting stable. This is a conversation we're hearing every now and then, that that the economy is stable. I wanted to mimic the voice of our deputy president, then I chose peace. So this is something that we are told: the economy is stable, everything is working okay. You need to see, look, give the president time, and what we're expecting is to see changes or to see rather things that are different, working different. And among them is seeing this businesses, but the government is not listening. What do you think about this push and pull?
Before the construction of the now Nairobi Expressway, Kenyans had not been used to the term lipa ndo upitie hii barabara. Kitu imekuja na Nairobi Expressway. Na hiyo Nairobi Expressway ilijengwa ama ilikarabatiwa ndo ipunguze jam. Watu wa save time. Time is a resource in this country that is very limited. Ipunguze jam Mombasa Road, ipunguze jam Uhuru Highway. But haija achieve that to date. The reason is Nairobi Expressway imekuwa ni ya matajiri. Na sio matajiri wote. Do you know why sio matajiri wote? Juu matajiri bado tunapatana na wao Uhuru Highway na Mombasa Road, tunangangana hapo kwa jam over 3 hours. Uko juu jam iko tu pale pa kuingia, but you're not seeing people using this Nairobi Expressway. Na ni juu ya hizo tolls. When ilikuwa inatengenezwa ilikuwa ni ya loan, tulipewa loan ndio tutengeneze, but hiyo loan tunalipa saa hii na hutumii. Wewe unalipa from wherever you are, unalipa as long as unakatwa tax, but hujawahi tumia. Kuongea ukweli wa Mungu, can cheat can die. Myself, from where I sit, with all the profiles I have, with all the accolades I have, with all the achievements I have never used the Nairobi Expressway. Then Mkenya wa kawaida pale hivyo chini, mtu ambaye anatoka Mathare, mtu ambaye anatoka Kibra, mtu ambaye anatoka maeneo kama Zimmerman, West, for example, anatumia lini hii barabara yenye bado kuna conversation ya punguzeni pesa zinatumika? Do you know kulikuwa pia na rumors that the Thika super highway ianze kuwekewa tolls pia, kama wanataka kutumia huko ndani uanze kulipia. Na mwenye alitengeneza hii barabara hadi aliaga, saizi is resting in peace, tukisema kazi safi Kibaki, kazi safi Kibaki. Wewe tengeneza barabara yako moja at least. For the last 2.5 years bado hatujasikia barabara yenye imekuwa launched by the current president yenye imeisha. We only hear of Ramu, Magadashe, Isiolo, barabara ambazo zitajengwa itoke hapa iende pale. Kitu ambayo imekuwa kutoka 2022. The embattled former deputy president hosted one, DP Rigathi Gachagua, anasema the narrative of kuimba barabara si zenye zimejengwa, zenye zitajengwa imekuwa since 2022 when the people of Mount Kenya had a new song. Unaona? Now unaingia upande wa Uluyani, you tell them the same promises about roads that we don't have. Na zenye tuko nazo tunashindwa hadi kumanage. When we talk about these leaders being a mouthpiece of president, an ear of the president, eyes of the president, haiko hivyo, because from the Daily Nation, CS for Public Service Muturi, the cabinet secretary, going flat out to annoy Ruto. Inasemekana that the Public Service Cabinet Secretary Justin Muturi set tongues wagging when he appeared before the National Assembly Labour Committee and delivered a blistering critique of the government priorities and appeared to question President William Ruto's leadership. In his remarks, in which he called out the administration for neglecting long-stalled projects while embarking on new ones with inadequate funding, have further fueled speculation about his days in the cabinet being numbered. Tuachane na siku zake kukuwa numbered na yeye kukuwa cooked. Tuongelele hapo kwa we have projects that have been there. They have not been completed. Bado zimekuwa ni ghost projects, bado zimekuwa hot air projects, na saizi tunataka to launch zingine. At what point do we say that our administration is listening to us? Stop hiking tolls on roads. Focus on kututengenezea roads. Focus on mimi kama mwanabiashara naweza toa products zangu hapa hivi nifikishe kwa market, itoke kwa market nipate kama ni farm inputs vizuri, a seamless way haiko. Bado tunaongelea tuongeze pesa za barabara, tupunguze pesa za barabara. To concentrate na development. Tujengeni barabara zitoshe. Tusilipishe watu wetu kupitia barabara na yeti ni zao.
True. And you know, still on Business Daily, that is on page 5, says Treasury overshoots recurrent spending by 101 billion. We'll connect that to the politics right now in the country of renovation of government offices and the funding of Raila's AU campaign, and also an interesting story for our viewer back at home, because this is a business show. You need to get yourself the business daily. That is on page 3, tips on how to run a company in turbulent times, because in Kenya apparently we are having turbulent times all the time. So get yourself that copy so you can know how to run your company in turbulent times. As we want to shift from business to politics this morning, let's talk a little bit about disposable incomes in our pockets. Like pesa hakuna kwa mfuko, despite the fact that we are saying our economy is stable, pesa hakuna kwa mfuko, even as diesel and petrol consumption post fast growth in 3 years. Like there is more of that means more revenue for our country. And also we have seen for the last month akukukuwa na a rise. So apparently it has been stable. What do you think about the future? Is it a sign of a positive businesses in the coming days? Let's begin with you, Jacob.
Okay, I'm interested in the fuel prices actually, because I was reading the Standard today and I'm seeing that despite the fact that fuel prices have gone down or rather remain consistent, the transport is still high. Like they were complaining about mostly the transports from on western regions and the Nyanza regions, where it is still high despite the fact that the fuel prices have gone down. So the question is, the claim is that the organizations or the companies aren't trickling down the benefit down to the Kenyans. Despite the fact that the fuel has gone down, it has gone down for them up there, not down here. So despite the fact that we are having hope and expectations for better businesses tomorrow, like we know that energy is an important part of the nation. Like the energy helps us run the economy. When the transport is high, the businesses go high and everything, and the commodities go high. So the question is, how long are we going to wait until we see the impact on a Kenyan? Because it's like we are changing. It's maybe then the reduced fuel prices brought an impact to the Kenyan economy, and yet maybe they use it for EU campaign, or we don't know, because there is somebody for sure eating it up there. It doesn't come down. We don't see the impact. Like you have said, there is no money in the pocket, and yet the dollar is facing the wrath of the shilling. So that's the question. Where is it going to? Where is the impact that we are seeing? We want our business to grow. We want our impact of the businesses to be seen through the energy, through the support of the energy and fuel prices and all that. And yet that doesn't come. 3 years down the line. You see, it has been reducing and all remaining constant in 3 years. And yet, we are not again seeing the impact. So, should we wait for another 10 years until Ruto finishes his term for us to see the impact?
What did you say, 10 years?
Si, niliona wanasema 10 bila break. So, legal, you see, constitutionally, that is when we are done with him. We may send him home and he has another political comeback just like Donald Trump. So for us to get done with him, okay, do we really need to wait for that long? That's my point. Do we really need to wait for a decade for Raila to make his statements for us to see that we are getting the impact of the reductions?
So Juang, Jacob is saying that is telling the president, we listen, we want to believe you, but how?
Jacob is also saying that Ruto needs constitutionally 10 years we get done with him. The constitution of Kenya talks about 5 years term for everyone. Kutoka hapo, after 5 years hakuna mtu akona deni na wewe. You ever hear of sijui Mount Kenya wakona deni ya nani? After those 5 years, you are supposed now to give us your CV or resume again. We decide whether we are hiring you again or not hiring you again as our president. Our president is not a king. Our president is a CEO, Chief Executive Officer. So kama haezi fanya hivyo within 5 years, anafaa aondoke. Kuna hadi provisions in the same constitution of Kenya 2010 that put in place measures za kuensure anaweza toka hadi before those 5 years. Whenever you are having gross misconduct as a president, we can use both our parliaments to impeach you. Inaitwa impeachment process. Whenever you umeshindwa kuprotect and uphold the constitution which you saw to uphold. Unajua ile sword ikiinuliwa juu haikuagi ya kukatakata watu ama kuabduct watu, hapana, inakuaga ni ya kuprotect the constitution. If you fail in that mandate before those 5 years are done, you can still get out of that office. Shida ni sisi. Juu sisi ndio tunasema mpe time.
Trust the process.
Trust the process.
It's time now for the process to trust us.
Trust the process imekuwa ni a point ya kuencourage vijana kuendelea kuteseka. Yet wao wenyewe watumii process. Trust the process means go to chekechea, finish with your chekechea, get to primary, finish with it, high school, finish with it, ukimanage kumaliza, ingia TVET at least for 3 months, ikiisha, ingia kampo, tafuta degree, kuja, tukuajiri, hiyo ndo process. Na process ni systematic. But that's not what happens. Kuna mwingine atakaa tu chini, tunataka mtu ambaye anaweza kuwa director mahali. Do you have someone? Mtoto wa sister yangu ule mdogo anakuaga huko kijijini, yeye kazi yake ni kukunywa tu pombe. Mtoe kwa pombe, mlete kwa hii profession. Those are the people we call advisors. Advisors when sisi wote mafuta ikipanda bei tunajua na tunalia, lakini ikishuka no one celebrates juu hautajua mafuta yameshuka. Ukiingia kwa matatu unauliza mbona gari ni so na mafuta yameshuka? Bado bado tujafika,
hajashuka huko.
Kesho EPRA waseme mafuta yamepanda na 2 shillings. Gari ni 150, all of a sudden boda ya 50 bob. Mafans wa Chelsea wamejam, wanasema ndudhi ni so, waunganishe na time Chelsea imepigwa, inakuwa chaotic. No one feels that, but I feel juu shida ni sisi kama wa Kenya, we can try something different as early as now. Wewe ukiona mtu akusaidii, wachana naye. The problem is in leadership. Change the leadership. Don't give them what they are calling more time. Time to do what? You have the power to do it. Do it. If you can't do it, please be honorable enough to resign. Do biashara ziendelee. Saizi dola imeshuka tu kwa kusoma, imeshuka tu kwa ukiingia bank uone pale chini wakisema dola iko hapa, lakini kwa mfuko wako unafaa unajiuliza kama Mkenya wa kawaida, je, dola imeshuka? If haijashuka, then namaanisha kuna mahali tunadanganywa. Mafuta yamekuwa constant for months saizi, petrol, diesel, kerosene, but you're not feeling it as common mwananchi. Why? Because we have a lot of misappropriation of funds. See ati hatuna funds.
Talking of misappropriation of funds, you know, our political sphere in Kenya is connected to our economic endeavors. So if my memory serves me right, 2 years ago our president was saying we will not borrow. Maandishi haya si yangu. This statement is not mine.
Maandishi haya si mageni jijini bwana.
Our president said he will not engage in borrowing, but at the moment, Treasury's CBK emergency borrowing hit 107 billion Kenyan shillings. Is our government accountable, or is it truthful? Jacob?
When you say accountable, you might be referring to different people, not the ones that we know. Because like you said, the president stood on a Kenyan platform and said that now that the economy has stabilized, we should stop borrowing and start finding ways in which we can internalize funds. And the best thing he came up with was the finance bill. After that statement, the best thing he came up with was the finance bill. And you find that after immediately saying, you see, we want to believe Ruto, as you said, but tunashindwa aje. Because he stands today and tell us we will stop borrowing, and then tomorrow he borrows. And then we are taxed to pay the borrowing, and yet we don't see the impact as well. So that's the challenge that we have. we have a government which we borrow, yes, and then we spend it, like we don't even accomplish our projects before we get into another one. Okay, how many Kenyans right now still understand the affordable housing project, how it goes? We have suddenly moved to SHI and SHA and whatever, and then we are moving into the next thing before you realize it, and yet we are not seeing the impact of the original. So nobody comes out and said, okay, it has helped me. The affordable housing has helped me, and I'm benefiting from it. Then now SHA is here, and everybody here, Baby Ariana, abandoned by SHA in an hour of need and dies. And SHA has failed. And then we are moving into the next project. We are moving to Mudagashi and whatever, and they don't work. So we don't understand even whatever you're reading there. We don't understand where those billions are. We don't understand anything about this Ruto's government. Me, that is what I say. From where I'm seated, I really struggle to understand him, but I cannot even put a dot to a dot because there are not even dots. It's just plain.
You know, with this kind of borrowing, that means the cash flow within government is, the cash is really flowing, and that means also the internal debt is rising. That means the government is competing for debt with the common mwananchi. And the discussion we had last week, we had an economist who was saying that when the government borrows a lot, it makes loans expensive for the mwananchi, because most banks will tend to give the loans to the government because it is sure that the government will pay, and it will pay in kind, with good interest. So local mwananchi hatapata loan ya kuanzisha biashara, but the government will get it. So the government gets the money, there is cash flow, but projects are stalling, things are not happening. Ojwang, how do you think this is affecting us as a country?
Good. According to recent data, I have it here. Since 2022, Kenya has borrowed a significant amount, with the National Treasury since 2022 borrowing 862.92 billion, that is in the financial year 2022-2023, this includes 280.73 billion kutoka nje, 582 billion domestically. So sisi bado tuna borrow. And when President Ruto was campaigning using his manifesto that he called the plan, alisema shida yetu ni tumekopa sana, na mtu ambaye ametukopesha sana ni huyu Uhuru, akiungana na mzee wa vitendawili, na wakasema that's where the rain started beating us. But when he took over power, something changed. Bado tulikuwa tunakopa as tunaambiwa hatukopi. So tunakopa na bado tunaambiwa hii finance bill ni ya kutusaidia tusikope. Alafu mkisema tusikope, mnataka tutoe pesa wapi? Tuacheni kukopa, tufanye hivi. Anasema tuacheni kukopa, bado tunakopa. We analyze mikopo yote yenye tumechukua from outside country. Ni wapi tumetumia? Which projects can we see and say hii project ni product ya pesa za mkopo za hapa hivi? In fact, kama kuna project ambayo utapata mahali mashinani, na inaweza kuwa bado haijaisha, inahusika na NGOs za nje. Maybe Germans wametupea pesa tufanyie project fulani, imepea county government fulani, but si loans tulikopa China ndo tutengeneze kitu fulani, si loans tulikopa mahali ndo tutengeneze kitu fulani ndo imetengeneza. We don't have that. Kuja kwa domestic borrowing. Domestic borrowing, kitu moja iko hapo hivyo, apart from the bonds that we ensure that we are buying, kuna kuwaga na levies. I will give you one that is very famous. Infamous. Acha nirudi hapo. Infamous. The housing levy. Ile tax iko pale hivyo, according to the current CS wa lands, public works and urban planning, the former MP Kandara, CS Alice Wahome, says that pesa zote wa Kenya wanatoa every month sio za mjengewe nyumba wewe upate nyumba, ni pesa za it's not a savings plan, ni pesa za kusaidia government kujenga hizi nyumba,
which you will come and buy.
After hapo ubuy. What happens if hautaweza kubuy? Pesa zote zile ambazo umekatwa zote ni zimekunywa maji. Badala ya pesa zangu zikunywe maji that way, hiyo gavasi ni ruhusu I save in a sacco after 3 years of saving in a sacco, I borrow 3 times nijijengee nyumba, alafu kila mtu akuwe na nyumba yake. Hawataki hivyo. So ni mahali tutafute pesa tuibe, tutafute pesa tuibe. Kuna loan nyingine inakuaga hapo inaitwa hustler fund. Hustler fund iko hapo ikusaidie. Hustler fund iko hapo kama a way of cleaning money and earning more money through interests. Na hustler fund huongezeka kila siku. And to every Kenyan mwenye aliwahi kopa Fuliza na akasema si Fuliza hustler fund, na akasema hii pesa ni yetu bwana, serikali ijilipe. There is a reason why President Ruto put Oparanya as a CS cooperatives, because Oparanya was number 1 mtu wa kupiga hustler fund. Akisema vile ni mbaya, akamweka hapo hivyo ananyamaza. Siku hizi Oparanya kazi yake ni kutafuta jinsi ambavyo atakufinya wewe urudishe pesa za hustler fund. So hizi pesa zote zinaenda wapi? Tuko na pesa, tuhitaji hizo borrowing zote tunafanya. Tuna borrow pesa tupeleke wapi? Kwa campaign. Tuna borrow pesa tupeleke wapi? Nje ya nchi, si hata zitusaidie. Hizi pesa zote wanaiba. If zingekuwa zinamwagwa hapa nchini Kenya, wewe ungekuwa una feel. Bei ya unga ndio inashuka saa hizi. Na ishuki ati inakusaidia. Watu wangapi wanakula ugali bado? Hakuna. Ni kusema tu tunasema inashuka but haishuki. Pesa tuko nazo, mbona tunakopa zingine?
Okay. You had something to say.
I just wanted to add something about what you said. Okay, you find that I'm married and me and my wife, we are working. So my wife also pays for the affordable housing and I also pay for the affordable housing. Lakini nyumba tutapewa moja.
Ati mtapewa?
Okay, the house that we'll buy one house basically from the government because we are a family, me and my wife, right? So where is the other investment of the other person?
The narrative already changed. It's no longer an investment. When this thing was being sold to us,
it was an investment.
You know, you are saving. And this was really happening in broad daylight in podiums, talking to people that
large
you are
crowds.
saving. Yes, large crowds.
You are saving. And you'll be given
the house.
Right now, you buy the house.
Right now, the narrative has changed. If you and your wife are contributing to affordable housing, that is a tax. That is a tax.
Okay, do you realize that what I wanted to add basically was, I once listened to PLO's interview immediately after the elections of the year 2022, and he said, even if it was Raila Odinga who would have won elections, it could have taken him more time of at least 3 years to stabilize the economy. Not because he is capable of shaping us the way we want, but that is the time it could take anyone, depending on the problems that we are facing at a nation. But now the problems of Kenyan politicians is that we don't own the problem as a nation, because the nation is the problem, not an individual. If Ojwang today is the governor Kiambu and I'm vying against him in 2027, I shouldn't be going around telling Kenyans that the problem that Kiambu is facing is him. Knowing clearly that him is not the problem. Knowing clearly that Kenya, yes, we need to borrow to develop. And therefore, I cannot blame him for borrowing to develop. So when I will win against him, then I still be doing whatever he was doing, because that is what was needed to be done. And it makes the common mwananchi fail to understand basically what is the truth and what is the lie. And you realize a foundation built on a family built on a foundation of lies won't build, it won't stand. And that is what is happening to our president right now, because he won his election through wooing the people against their former president. That the problem is Raila, the problem is Uhuru, the problem is borrowing, the problem is this. Not clearly knowing that that is towards the development of Kenya. And as a nation, if that was the problem, it was their problem as a government. And now that he'd been given the office, he realizes that he's still going to face the same challenges. So he still needs to borrow. He still needs to work with the people who are working with. Now he's working with Raila. So he blamed everyone and stood out of the problem. But But when you read Not Yet Uhuru by Oginga Odinga, he was saying that we can never change the problem by running away from it. We have to get inside the problem.
And stay with our problem.
Until we have leaders who are going to get inside the problem to solve it, we are far from change.
So we need to shift from blame game to actually owning our problem
Exactly,
as a country,
as a nation.
and finding a way to
And
move
finding
forward.
a way to move forward.
Can I
Very
add something
interesting.
onto that? That the problem
Sure.
is us as the citizens, because sisi kama Wakenya ni watu ambao tunaamini Mungu sana. Sisi kama Wakenya ni watu tunaamini kusameheana sana. Forgive and forget. Ni ndugu yako. So this is what happens every election year. Mtu wetu. That before ousting of the impeached former deputy president Rigathi Gachagua, tulikuwa tunasema waende nyumbani hawa watu. After ametoka, wewe ndio the truthful man. Pole sana, wewe ulikuwa unapigwa juu ya hizi vitu. Tumechange juu tunamsamehea, ni mtu wetu. In 2013 kuna watu walikuwa ICC mahali na kesi. Watu wangapi? Wawili. Kitu kasema sisi kama Wakenya,
we fight, we stand for one another.
Si tuachaneni hii mambo, sijui huyu aliongoza vita huku, huyu na yeye akaenda kudefend, tukakuwa in chaos. Tusameheane, tuache. Wacheni kupeleka watoto wetu ICC. Tukae hapa hivi tuunde tribunals, tujisikilie. In fact, ndio tu ensure hawa watu watawahi tupeleka kwa vita tena. Wacha mmoja akuwe president, ule mwingine akuwe DP, yake 10. Iishe. So ni sisi. Another problem that we have in this country ni ati sisi juu tunawapenda Mungu sana, our religious leaders are making that an advantage to them. We've become so gullible that in 2022 our president alitoka kanisa. By then he had a nickname, Nabii. Kwa nini? Akiingia kila church kuna kuwa na 2 million, hiyo church inasema Mungu asifiwe. Nyinyi mnasema amen, mnasema tunataka huyu wa kanisa. That time we had even a narrative that yule mwingine ni mganga. Yeye si wa kanisa, yeye ni mganga. I think we need to sit down, look at our constitution and ask ourselves, why did the champions who are writing this constitution or drafting this constitution say that Kenya is a no-state religion? It did not mean that we are a world of atheists. It means wewe unaomba Mungu wako, huyo anaomba Mungu wake, mimi naomba Mungu wangu. Na at no particular point we will use religion or Mungu kuseparatiana. We are doing that, and as long as we are doing that at 2027 nitakuja uniambie mimi si wa kanisa yenu sitachaguliwa, then we will be in the same problems. Watu wanalia saizi wanasema tunateseka, but Baba was not a solution. So when do we sit down, then we get a solution for ourselves? Saizi watu wamekuwa wakisema kuna Omtata, na Omtata inasemekana huyu akiingia ati atafunga watu wa corruption cases. The same narrative that was used to beat the Azimio's deputy president candidate or running mate by then Martha Karua. Juu ati alikuwa akiingia atakuwa DP na bado anashughulikia maswala ya justice and constitution, vitu ambavyo yeye ni champion, na ilikuwa inasemekana atatufunga. So saizi wale ambao wamefanya hivi haya makosa yote, money laundering, saizi angalia on page 8 of the Daily Nation, more trouble for Waitito as DPP fights to restore money laundering charges. These charges were leveled against him for crimes he did when he was a governor. That when he governor uko involved na money laundering. 27 huyu jamaa akikuja atakuja akisema mnaona vile hiyo serikali ya Ruto imenikimbiza watu wangu. Mimi hata niko na chama, amepewa chama kinaitwa Farmers Party and ya party leader. Mbona mnakubali sisi tuumizwe? Sisi watu wa Mount Kenya ndio tunaumizwa. Tulikuwa tunaongea kuhusu incompetence ya the Chief Justice, current Chief Justice, also the President of Supreme Court. Mwenye analia hakuna justice everywhere. Wanasema mimi wasioni news juu hakuna justice. Tukisema this lady has failed the Supreme Court, has failed the judiciary, she should go. Saizi kuna plans that she should go, but sisi bado tunalia hapana, huyo ni Ruto, huyo anataka kutoa hawa watu wote ndo akuwe na supreme power. It's true up to that point, but it's also a fact that the judiciary has a problem. It is being run by people we can call incompetent because of things that they are not doing. We clean the system, drain the swamp if possible, get new leaders. The problem lies in the leadership. Na sisi wa Kenya ndo tunatengenezaga hizo leaderships.
The problem lies in the leadership, and the
Na
problem
sisi.
also lies on Kenyans.
Exactly.
Everyone is blaming another. Everyone is blaming another. You were talking on the judiciary, and the High Court has barred JC from hearing petitions seeking the removal of Supreme Court judges, igniting a legal battle over judicial independence and claims of a plot to weaken the top court. This is a very hot discussion this morning, especially this is a day where we are expecting decisions to be made. And it has been politicized because Aleron has said that the former deputy president, who I also said that apparently it's like the charges against him of being tribal stand, because this is a national issue of competence. But what we are hearing right now is mukitoa huyo mama Meru usikanyage Meru, usikanyage Meru. And this is a threat to the president. It's like the presidency is no longer respected. The presidency is no longer having that power. So what do you think about this, the independence of the arms of government?
Okay, to begin with, I'm one person who has lost a lot of respect for the former DP Gachagua, not basically because he's not my tribesman or anything, or maybe I wasn't for UDA, but there are things that you don't stand on national platform as a sober leader and say them. See, I was listening to Atuli the other day, and there's a time that Atuli was having an interview and he's saying that there's a time after the election they went to the parliament, to the state house, and the Chagwa didn't welcome them. He was like, these people didn't support us. Why are you talking to them as a president? So a lot of things due to the tribalness inside us, due to the fact that the government belongs, the cake belongs to the bakers. You are not part of the cake. See, serikali ni shareholders and all this. When now the shareholding roles change, people feel betrayed and people feel left out. And that's why you realize, like, okay, it should not be a reason, but that by saying that if you call her off from the office, then don't step to Meru. She isn't a chief justice to Meru. She's a chief justice to the nation. Like Kenya, she's the chief justice to the Kenyan citizens. So she's just a representative of Meru citizens, but not like she's a chief justice because she's a Meru. So he's trying to say that she's a chief justice because she's a Meru. So if a Meru is no longer the chief justice, don't come to Meru. And that is not right. That is where we are going wrong. And that's what Miriam is trying to say here. That is where we need to change as a nation. Coming to the court, to the fact that they want to change about the four major judges of the justice. With me, there was a time I was going to run a certain election, and I told them that a body which had run elections for the past 4 or 3 elections isn't fit to run the fourth or the fifth one, because along the way they have gotten compromised. And I can see question raised why they should not be disposed is that there are around 18 questions, and the people coming inside, I don't see if they're actually bad people. The likes of Nelson Harvey aren't bad judges. Yeah, they have been good
How well
Kenyan
do you know
citizens.
that?
We have seen Nelson fighting for Kenyans outside here.
There is a fighting
on
for
the
Kenyans.
streets, on the streets. So we believe that he has Kenyan interest from the public. He goes outside there and fights for the law society of Kenya. He goes outside there and defend people when they are in need. But that change with time when you have gotten into the system. What I think is, if Kenyans need change, if Kenyans really need change, if our former DP really need change, if we as a common mwananchi really need change, we need to drain the swamp, and this is part of the swamp. We need to drain from the president to his people to this one. Because the people who chose them as the Chief Justice and the Deputy Chief Justice and whatsoever are the people in the system. See, Ruto was the Deputy President then. So they are the people who appointed them, and they're part of the problem. So if they need to drain for Kenyans to be safe, yeah, that's okay. May have no problem with that. But we start with the president as we move down to the Chief Justice, and we drain the swamp, and we begin anew. But if you are going to send the judges away and remain with the president, then let's stay with them as well.
The problem is the system.
The problem is the system. Let's
Okay.
drain and flush the system and begin anew.
Just to get this straight, Harvey is just a lawyer who is loud on social media. We are not sure whether he is corrupt or he's not corrupt.
Yeah, but I'm liking
Ama
his loudness.
amekulipa.
Not really. I haven't even met him. But I'm just reading about the name here, and the system is corrupt. You see, when you read and you find that the committee chairs of also the parliament committee chairs had been re-elected, and you find that those who are aligned to the former deputy presidents, they are going home, and new ones from Azimio side and UDA are being re-elected, and even our 87-year-old senator from Siaya was elected the chair of the energy committee. And so that's how bad it is. That's how bad it is. I don't know whether we are feeling it, but
he's a brother
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
party.
yeah,
What
that's how bad it is.
It is very bad
Yeah.
because this week the president is in the coastal region. This is the third day, I think, of the 7 days development
And your
tour.
road song to Cram is coming.
Definitely, definitely we
Development,
expect
quote
that.
unquote.
And yesterday we had, who is this member of parliament? Is it MP? This lady.
From where nikwambie jina?
Oh God, let me just say what she said. That kumekuwa na handshake. Tumekuwa na handshake lakini hatujapata keki kwenye serikali. Hivi sasa tunaye John Mbadi, tunaye kwenye serikali, you know.
I think you're talking about Zamzam.
Yes, Zamzam. That's right. Tumekuwa na handshake lakini hatujakuwa kwenye serikali. Lakini sasa tuko kwenye serikali. So the Standard, their biggest headline this morning is Raila caged. This is a man who is torn between supporting the government and looking to the people.
Tonaje.
He's meeting the president and saying he's torn.
He's in the middle. So anasafisha rada kwa Kenya, anasema mimi nitawatetea, but huku nyuma tunasikia kuna handshake, viti tutapata. In fact, she even said tutakuwa na viti za PSS. So is this a kind of confusing the public? Yes, we know we are the problem as the public, but are we that gullible to be confused by to believe that this man is really caged, or he already knows what he wants to do?
Good. I want to respond on that ndo tuangalia di uzuri na ubaya wa baba. But before that, maybe I give my views on the 4 more Supreme Court judges who have secured orders from
Don't be so long. We don't have much time.
Against JSC. Okay. He who pays the piper calls the tune. Let's talk about the pipers who are now singing. One of them is Nelson Harvey. Nelson Harvey is a former president of Law Society of Kenya. Grand Mullah Ahmed Nasir Law is a senior counsel. These two, in terms of professionalism and all that, they are doing what they are supposed to do. When the judiciary is not working, call it out. But the problem comes in that who is paying them? Nelson Harvey was running for MP seat Westlands against Tim Wanyonyi 2022. He lost using UDA ticket. Grand Mullah was chief campaigner for President Ruto during the 22 campaigns. So basically and de facto hawa watu wako kwa mfuko ya nani? Nasir Law alishapigwa ban hapa nchini Kenya. Hakuna mahali anaweza kaa, kesi yake isikizwe na majaji. He has to go to Uganda or Tanzania. So ako mpaka na ile yenye ni vengeance anataka ifanyike. But that does not mean that this potato sack is not rotten. It's rotten. Vile tunaingoa ndo shida inakujia. We are supposed to drain the swamp. That's true, that's correct. But we have changed everything as a country. We have changed the DP juu hafanyi. We have sent all the CSS home, brought others, brought our wengine wakupeleka mahali tukatoa
Recycled
wengine.
others.
That has not changed. We are now talking about the Speaker of National Assembly na vile hata yeye hafai kukua hapo hivyo. Huyu ameenda. Tumeingia nao judiciary, tunasema judiciary haiwork. When will we ever talk about what we have been saying is the problem? The head. Because as long as the head is the same, hata unawe mikono aje, the head ndio decide tutachafua. Hata utamak aje, the head ndio decide time utaacha kutamak kutulie. I think that's where we should take all this energy. Tuache na matawi judiciary, matawi parliament, we deal with the head. The question is how. It's hard when we have ODM siding with them. 13 billion zishatumika. You won't tell me Baba is caged? Baba is not caged anywhere. Anakuaga 10 moves ahead. But
Exactly.
if we are counting on Baba to help us as a country, then sisi kama Wakenya tujue sisi ni orphans. Hatuna Baba wa kutusaidia. We go back to things that Baba could actually do because he has done. Today we are enjoying what we are calling 47 county women leaders. Wanaingia pale hivyo National Assembly to represent their counties. Baba ndio ali-influence. Hiyo ikakuja na ikakuwa kwa constitution. But 2018 Baba aliingia. Alisaidia nini? What changed between 2018 and 2022? Saizi Baba ako. Kutoka ile time, hii handshake mpya wanaita broad-based. Ilikuja. Baba amesaidia nini na amesaidia wapi? Why are we saying that saizi Baba ndio atatusaidia? We have no Baba anymore. We have someone who is seeking his interest to be served just like any other politician. Nigawie yangu, nipe 4 CSS, na saizi yeye hata anataka yake. Now that sina yeye, you see, can we relook into this NADCO and implement it fully nikuwe prime minister? Bado tunaongelea Baba being caged. When will this nation stop being about Baba and be about Kenyans? We've gone out there where we're supposed to be so diplomatic, international relations zetu zinafaa zikuwe at par, ndio tuweze kupata kitu kama AUC chairmanship. Bado we are talking about Baba. It has been Baba, saizi tunaongea kuhusu Baba. Let us as Kenyans at least sit down and talk about Kenya. We make it about ourselves and not about a person.
Interesting. Jacob,
Yes.
do you think Raila is kid?
Raila is a mastermind. Is somebody who you can't say that you have put in something, in a basket somewhere. Because you can hear his allies are saying that you will not tell us what you want to give us. You can't come and say that you want to give us the prime minister seat or anything, because they know they have plan for that. Because when we were here with Miriam last time, and I was telling him, Baba said, sisi tukishindwa tumefaulu, na tukishinda bado tumefaulu. So it means he has seen what he wants ahead of everyone. So them saying Baba is caged is a lie. It's a big lie, because we can see the moves. Because if at all he was at the crossroads of deciding whether he want to work for the Kenyans or with Ruto, then he could not have met him in Mombasa. He could have just made his, because you hear what the president is saying. You hear what the president is saying, that we are going to look for a way forward. Mimi na yeye, we are going to look for a way forward. As the Prime Minister said, there will be wide consultations across the political divide as we work towards the unity of our country and progress. So it means there is a plan. We're just being delayed. And we can see ODM also is divided. Maybe Baba is caged because maybe ODM is divided in ideas. That is right. Not on what he wants. Because you can see, I'm very proud of Sifuna, I'm very, very proud of Anyang' Nyong'o, because they are standing by the principles of the party and of ODM. And they say, and at some point I have been a politician, and I also have been in areas where we need tabling of agreements. And what do we say? We tell our strong supporters to resist the idea, so that when we go to the table, the budget increases. the bargain increases.
Okay.
Yeah, so I tell my people to make noise in the social media and say no, 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 no. So that when I go there and I tell them, for us to convince him to come on board, you have to get this. For us to convince also Nyong'o to come over, we have to get this. So we are really at crossroads. It is us Kenyans who are caged. We are the ones at the crossroads. We're the ones who are seeing whatever is happening. Some person was saying, as I finished, some person was saying, I don't know which leader was the other day, was saying that Raila has been the longest president in Kenya. He has served with Ruto, with Moi, he has served with Kibaki, he has served with Uhuru, and now he's serving with Ruto. So he has served for four presidents. And like Miriam said, where is the change? Okay, let us not praise somebody for the goods, because we are also judged for the bads. We have been having him on legal consultations, on constitutions, on fight for freedom and everything. But what is it about developments? What is his input on developments? What has he developed? What did he develop as
in
a
the
prime
country,
minister?
as a prime minister working with the government?
And what did he develop working with Ruto, with Uhuru Kenyatta? And where are the developments as he worked? Serikali itakuwa tu ni keki bado. And you will hear him being given the deputy president, the attorney general, and everything as it's there on social media. And where there is smoke, there is fire.
Very interesting. Now, as we have just concluded this discussion, the problem is that we Kenyans are the ones who have caged. If you've listened to this conversation from 9 a.m. this morning, I bet you've noticed that it is we Kenyans who have caged. Our leaders are playing politics, which is politics, and it will always be politics. The problem is not the leaders, the problem is our country, which we are supposed to be focused on. Our guest in studio this morning has been Jacom. Thank you so much for making time this morning for us. And Ojwang, thank you so much for always having you. It's always a pleasure of having you. And I am Anyango Sylvia. Thank you so much. This has been Biashara Tuesday, KUTV Rise Today.